try to resolve it quickly, so we'll go as quick as you'd like. Okay?
Sure would. Well, for starters, it's very good to see both of them.
Okay.
I'd like to apologize for any errors in my 2011 tax return. I assure you, I respect the work that I do, and my end goal is to be in compliance with the tax code.
Well, we appreciate that.
Today, I've brought my KPMG tax team,
Great.
and I've charged them the task of considering all the issues that you want to discuss.
Great.
So with that, I'm going to hand off to Laura.
Let's go.
Great to see you guys again.
Great to see you.
I know your time is valuable, so let's go ahead and get started and talk about those bonds.
Okay.
First off, we totally agree with you on the U.S. Treasury bonds. Our client here should be paying taxes on the interest he's
I've
earned.
been doing this for 20 years. I got something right.
Yes, sir. But we do have a little bit of conflict with the American Samoa bond.
All right, tell me more.
According to Section 103 in the International Revenue Code, this bond would would qualify as a state bond. And a state bond...
American Samoa is a state?
No, but as a definition in 103C, the term state includes the District of Columbia and possessions of the United States.
That's right.
Which Samoa is a possession of the
That's
United
a good point.
States.
That's a
And
good point.
state and local bonds are both tax exempt.
Well, I think we can
So-
get that. I think that's a great point.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And now we'll hop over to the hospital bond.
Okay.
So this is the bond with Wake Forest Baptist
Hospital?
Medical Center.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a hospital. And so like most hospitals, this is a 501c3
Sure.
organization. And under section 141E1G, a qualified 501c3 bond is a qualified bond.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so this is a chain of definitions. And then qualified bonds...
It's complex in the tax code.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. And so then qualified bonds are tax exempt under the same 103
Oh.
section. And so,
Do you have anything that says that? Do you know for a fact that the hospital is tax exempt?
yes, we called them up and then got on their website, and there's multiple references to them being a 501c3
Do you have any
organization.
documentation to that effect, or?
No proof that they're a 501c3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty familiar with Wake Forest.
Yeah.
Maybe you can supply that after.
Yeah,
can,
we definitely
go
could.
ahead and grant that. That'd be great.
All right.
What's next?
Next is Paul. He's going to talk to you about which is the art.
So,
That big $500,000 deduction.
that lovely painting that Mr. Paul was kind enough to donate to Wake Forest University, he did err in not having the painting properly appraised at the time of donation or 60 days prior, and then also mailing in an 8x10 photo with that appraisal.
If he doesn't have an
Final tax
appraisal,
return.
what are we talking about?
So we had it retroactively appraised by reputable appraisers.
Retroactively appraised? So tell me more about that.
Well, they can appraise it at the value of the painting at the time.
Do you have the appraisal with you?
We do.
Can I see that?
Yes, you may.
Was it done before his tax return was filed?
It was.
Well, that's pretty relevant.
My guys know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a good firm.
Show appraisal.
Yeah, this just really says the appraisal date was back to when he gave it. Do you know when the appraisal was actually done or completed?
Well, that was actually before he gave it. The donation date was on October 10th,
Okay.
and the appraisal date was October 1st.
That's the day of the appraisal. When was the appraisal actually completed? This doesn't really tell me that.
I believe it should.
And I may be misreading that, so.
Appraisal date October 1st, 2011.
Yeah, maybe I'm not saying it, but, so that's the date as of which they did the appraisal. When did they actually do the appraisal? They did it as of that date prior to him making the donation?
Yes.
Okay.
So this was, he donated on the 10th.
Okay.
And
He did the appraisal 9 days earlier?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And so, would that be satisfactory to verify that the painting's worth that much?
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with Brown and Sons. They actually do very good work, and it is dated during the tax return year. It does seem substantial. That is one of the requirements, of course, of the law. I mean, another, of course, is to attach the appraisal summaries. Is there a reason why we don't have those?
We do have the 8x10 photo that is required.
Beautiful painting.
You don't make us do it.
They're going to hang in Whitechapel.
Wow, for all the students enjoy, right? It's part of their academic experience. That's great. What's the, always forget, what's that form number that they always have to figure out?
8283?
Oh, you actually have that. Oh, that's why on the tax return, I was expecting to see that, so. That was, you know, I mean, one of the requirements is this actually should be filed with a return, that.
We realized that, and Mr. Paul, and we.
Why should I grant this then?
Well-
Why did you not do this?
You know, I mean, I gave it to Wake Forest because I love Wake Forest. I grew up in Winston-Salem.
Sure.
And I wasn't doing it for any sort of tax incentive. I was just doing it because I love.
So you don't care about your income tax incentive?
I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
So, but I believe the law grants me it, so I'd like to have that.
You know, it's, I always appreciate those who give back, right? Particularly their alma maters, and the code does give us leeway, if we think it was a reasonable cause and not just willful neglect, right? And I just don't really feel that you did that, so I think we can grant that.
Appreciate that. Like to move on.
Yes, I'd like to talk about the loan, the business loan that we
Yeah.
have.
The gift
Oh, I think it's debatable.
to the cousin.
Let's talk about it.
I'm all ears.
Okay, well, first off, I want to show you that we do have a contract between him and his cousin that says,
That's helpful.
yes, and it states that the loan did happen for $200,000. There is interest that's being charged, and there is a date that the money should be paid back by.
Okay.
And it's signed.
That looks like a loan back.
Yes, and then, now I know how you still think it might be a gift, but we actually have an email from his cousin saying that he acknowledges that he is supposed to be paying him back, but he is actually filing for bankruptcy. And we have proof of that bankruptcy file, so he is unable to pay that loan. And this kind of practice, for our client here, is a form of business. He has profited off of 2 other basketball players previously, and those have been filed in his 1040, as you can see on line 12. And
So you've had other activities similar to this and are actually reporting your income as a business.
yes,
That's
and
actually pretty strong evidence.
according to section 166 with bad debts, wholly worthless debts, which this is, can be deducted the year they're deemed to be worthless.
So
Which,
why is that not 2012 instead
well,
of 2011?
he had started filing, the official filing of that was 2012, but he had already hired an attorney and was in motion of filing in 2011.
You know, the code doesn't always require you to do it when the bankruptcy is completed and you have other evidence. So I think I can understand that, although, you know, giving money to your cousin is a little shaky.
You should promise.
Yes.
And that's what I saw.
Yeah, well, it's, you've clearly shown that you've done it before and indicated it's a business motive for you, so I think we can accept that.
Thank you.
That's great. Then let's move to moving expenses.
Great.
And according to section 217A, all the moving expenses related with a new job in a new location is deductible.
Sure.
And we agree that our client did not give enough documentation.
You need documentation?
Yeah, so we help him fill this form,
Okay.
3903. And as you can see, the first line is transportation and storage. We have some invoice to prove that.
Yeah, I understand the support for these deductions.
Yeah. Here's the invoice, and according to section 270C1 and 2, our client is satisfied the conditions for allowance. Both meet the, it's more than 5 miles away, and he works as a full-time employee. And do you agree with that number for the first
It really
one?
seems like he paid it,
Yeah.
you know, and I know it is expensive to move a lot of household goods, so that seems okay to me.
That's great. And we also have a letter from the LA Clippers prove that they didn't reimburse our client all
Wow,
the
it's gonna-
expenses.
Really?
Yeah, because the policy just changed, so
Wow,
they
everybody
said,
gets it reimbursed. You need to talk to your agent.
They're paying me good money.
Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. I didn't see details of that contract, so. Yeah, it's interesting. I would have almost guaranteed that you had a reimbursement, but if this is real money out of your own pocket, that's actually very helpful.
yeah. And about lodging, we exclude the.
Presidential suite.
Yeah, I know, but it's quite normal and it's really reasonable for our client to protect him and his family's security. And
you know, last year Rudy Fernandez was attacked by fans. So safety is a concern in my profession. So I needed to protect myself, and I've got a child, I've got a wife, I need to protect my family.
I could understand that concern. What about this number for room service?
The room service actually be excluded from the,
Okay.
and as you can see, the line two, the $35,835, including the lodging, but not including the room service. And the travel expenses, we calculate with the mileage rate of 23 cents per mile. And the distance from New Orleans to LA is, let me see, I have it here. It's
So you'd like a deduction for the 85.6, the majority of the,
That's what we're going for.
okay?
Yeah.
I actually think you're being reasonable. I think we can grant that in line.
That's
We
great.
appreciate that. The last item that we have is a car that Mr. Paul won for being in the All-Star game.
I remember
in
that. Can I
2011.
say one thing? Mr. Paul, I'm a big fan. I'm a big basketball
Thank you.
fan. I grew up on a beat farm, but I played a little basketball myself.
Yeah.
Like that. So I just want to say I'm a big fan, all right?
Thank you.
That's good. You can go ahead.
Well, absolutely. Glad you're a fan. That's
Yeah.
what we all are. He drove that car around for a number of months and then donated it in November of 2011. We agreed that he should have included that as income on his
$110,000
on his
car,
tax
right?
return. What he donated to WFDD, and they turned around and sold the car for $92,499. And here's his 8283.
That's the local WFU NPR station.
And they use
Oh, this is very important.
those cars to finance their
298C
station.
is, obviously that's the appropriate documentation.
And here's a letter from the radio station saying they received the car and that they sold for that price. And so we're trying to take the deduction for $92,499.
As a charitable contribution.
Yes, sir.
That appears very reasonable. You